Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with the Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers Show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's just your host, SteelFlyers.
Thank you. That is the delightful co-host, Ronies. And on the show, the Steelers make an announcement.
NHL Playoffs are in the second round. Who's in and who's out?
The crown jewel of F1, the Monaco Grand Prix, takes place this coming weekend. And boy, have we got you all covered on the show this week. How you all doing? Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate all the great support and all the great listeners, and really appreciate that. So thank you guys very much for checking us out and tuning us in. And please hit the like and subscribe. Hit those 5 stars so that we get more recognition and you guys get to see us at the top of the list. So thank you all very much for that. Appreciate that. Ronies.
I think it's a record. We're actually doing a show right after the last show. We're like a week. Only a week.
Oh my gosh! That loud noise you heard was SteelFlyers falling over.
So I would like to bring up something.
Not really. He didn't fall over for real.
I just want your
Well, okay.
This is not going to be anything we're talking about our teams. This is another team that we're going to talk about.
Well, okay, so you want to do that first?
Yeah, because I want to get your reaction.
All right. Oh, gosh.
I'm
scared.
Let me preface this by saying we're going to be very polite and very calm.
Oh, gosh. That's not a good way to preface a question. Anyway, go ahead. I promise I will be on my best behavior.
Okay, so the Raiders brought in someone for a tryout today.
Yeah, who?
Do you know who it is?
No, who?
Colin Kaepernick.
Goody for them.
I'm just saying, it's been 5 years since he played.
Okay.
How good could he be?
Well, Okay, when you look at the body of work of Colin Kaepernick, and you go, all right, in reality, he had 2 really good seasons. He had the Pro Bowl season, and then he had the Super Bowl year. The Super Bowl year netted him a contract that was worth...
I don't remember, I'm sorry.
They backed up the Brinks truck, and it was a big, huge, giant truckload of money for a lot of years, right?
Yeah,
And then he basically nailed his own way out, mailed his own way out, or whatever you want to call it, by doing whatever he did. And he was no longer collecting a paycheck anymore from that contract that he signed.
Well, that kind of is a pain. I mean...
So, here...
I want you not taking all the politics out of it, okay?
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, that's why I'm trying to look at this objectively,
Here's my question.
Athlete, quarterback, what can you do?
Can a player that hasn't played in 5 years, who's 5 years older than when he played before, can he still make it in this league?
Well, that's kind of an irrelevant question. The reason why I say that's irrelevant because we've had quarterbacks now that have played into their 40s.
I agree.
And late 30s.
But they can play consistently. They didn't stop and then have to come back.
Not for that big of gap.
Right. I mean, there have been years...
5 years.
When, they're injured and they're recovering.
Yeah, because Alex Smith was down for, 2 years or 3 years?
Yeah, and look what he overcame to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, there was...
yeah.
That was a miracle.
I mean, that guy, my gosh, that just... And you look at him today, right, and he's still, very active and able to have a life with his family and able to play with his children.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his leg looks really ugly, but, hey!
He's got it.
It's still connected!
But anyway.
Right.
A lot of times when you have like when Ben went out for his elbow injury, where he missed almost the whole season, he had trainers, he had people working with him, he had, the support to come back.
Well, so did Smith. I mean, he was...
No, that's what I mean. That's compare that to somebody who hasn't had that support. I don't know. It's a question I had.
Don't necessarily know what the full story is with him, on purpose.
I know we've kind of stayed out of it.
Like I said, on purpose. Look, I'm gonna say this. This is how I'm gonna remove the politics from everything. Your platform should be on your own time, not on the dime of your employer.
Yeah, and on the other side, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. It is a platform that's going to get people's attention. And is that I don't want to go into all of that, but that, there's two sides to that story. That's all I'm saying.
See, and that's the other thing, too, where, you basically can't... Everybody's dancing around the basic thing, and the basic thing is you can't really go to him and be like, look, we would love to sign you, but you can't kneel.
Yeah.
And if you kneel, you're out. And I'm here to tell you that's what happened. And that's why he's out. So, right or wrong, whatever it is, right or wrong, he kneeled and now he's out.
There are consequences to your actions.
There are consequences to your actions. That's exactly right. Now, everybody has a right to their platform. Okay? And I'm not beguiling anybody of that.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not. But there's a time and place for that. And that is not when you're at the job.
Yeah. I can see that.
Okay. Now, I understand that you are face of the franchise, starting quarterback, Super Bowl, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. What you stand for politically, even religiously, should not really be that platform that you're afforded to speak to the media. Should not be the time you're talking about what's going on with you.
Okay, so...
You should be talking about what's going on with the team and the offense and how good you're playing and throwing the ball and how you're connecting with your receivers and how you're able to move the offense up and down the field and win games and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Hold on. Yeah, you can ask me a question. Let me just finish. When you on your own time, Saturday, Friday, after whatever, and you want to have press conference and you want to have events and tents and people and whatever you want to do and plaster it all over social media and and spending your own money, your own time and blah, 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 and you want to tout whatever soapbox you want to stand on, more power to you. Okay? Seriously, more power to you. That's what this country was founded on, was the freedom to do that. I have a problem when you're doing it on the job.
Okay. So let me ask you my question now.
All right.
And, again, deep breaths. Does that rule, or that thought, let me say it this way, not using your job, in this case being an NFL player, not using your job to promote your own views, and could the same thing be said for when Tim Tebow was playing?
Like I said, political or religious. Okay? Now, you have to put it in that same bucket, unfortunately. Because political views and religious views, because there are multiple players in the NFL that are of non-Christian type faiths.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So,
yeah.
And they don't celebrate the usual holidays and whatever, and they have different beliefs.
Correct.
And they are free to do so.
Right.
That's all fine and great. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny though, because you never really hear about those people. You never really hear those people standing on platforms and talking about...
Well, they might do it more in the community they're from, or more in the community that,
on their own time.
They are on their own time.
Out of the media eye,
Not like... Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Look.
Wait,
Hold on. My name is SteelFlyers, and I used to play for the the Seattle SteelFlyers.
Right.
Right? For 15 years. Right? And I was whatever.
Right. You're doing it on your own time.
Oh, no, but what I'm saying is that, so I go now to any city and, that's SteelFlyers from the Seattle SteelFlyers.
Right.
So even though I haven't played, or even though I'm playing,
right,
but you have that name recognition.
That's going to bring people in.
It's going to bring people in. So that's what I mean by doing it on your own time. Using your platform.
Or whatever you believe in, or whatever your...
The NFL, the Major League Baseball, the NBA has afforded you the ability to spend your own money to tout whatever you want to tout. Go and do it if you so desire. All I'm saying is not do it on the job. And that goes for the whole ball of wax up and down. Political, religious, whatever.
Okay.
Because you can't have one and not the other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you just... That's why I'm so disappointed with the NFL, because they're so wishy-washy. Like, one thing goes for this and another thing goes for that.
Well, we could spend 2 hours on...
Just that.
But yeah.
Okay. No, but I mean, I don't have a problem with people's opinions. I don't have a problem with people's beliefs. Even though they may be 690 million degrees different than mine.
You still have the right to have your own opinion.
You still have a right to have your own opinion, and you have the right to express it in a non-violent, come on. Let's try to be real here now, you know what I mean? You're not trying to spark riots and stuff, but I'm just using this as an example, okay? That's why I said I'm SteelFlyers from the Seattle SteelFlyers, right? And I have this name recognition. So now, and I was paid I made this multiple hundreds of millions of dollars and played for 15 years and whatever, right? So I have this big giant bank account. Well, it just so happens that I like yellow Lego blocks.
Okay.
But
free the yellow Lego blocks?
Yeah, whatever. Does it matter? Does
No.
it really matter?
No, I'm just teasing you.
Well, okay, so a yellow Lego block, right? Mm. And I spend millions, and I set up events, and I get people registered to my website, and everybody is following the yellow Lego block.
Okay.
But you know what I mean?
Right. But you're doing that on your own, away from your job. This is your job. I guess, is it that we're blurring that line between an athlete who's performing his job and an athlete who's representing his cause? That's where the line's getting messed up. So here, I'm going to change direction and ask you one other question.
By the way, I'm sorry if we use the word Lego in a bad way. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think you use it in a bad way.
Okay, but we're not really allowed to say things like that, but so I'm sorry.
I think Lego's pretty generic, like Kleenex and,
Plastic,
Q-tip.
plastic building block.
There you go.
That snaps together in a uniform way.
Anyway, so here's my other question, just for a topic of the day, just because I saw it earlier. They're talking about in the NFL about what to do with the Pro Bowl game. And one of the solutions is to get rid of it. Do you think we should get rid of the Pro Bowl game because of the possibility of injury to these players, which has happened, which either, causes them not to be able to play in the Super Bowl? Will they fix that so you can have a substitute now? Or if you really get seriously injured and you could end your career for a game that doesn't really matter. Do you think we should keep the Pro Bowl?
So, I never understood why they had the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
They think the original thought was because it was the week between the end of the playoffs and the Super Bowl, they wanted to have something to fill that spot.
Yeah, because there's 2 weeks.
Right.
And so you've just gone now 20 weeks in a row now, and you're going to go a whole week without football, professional football, mind you, until you get to the Super Bowl. So I think they should do what the NHL has done to their All-Star game or their Pro Bowl or whatever you want to call it, right? Their All-Star game. Only not have it in the middle of the season, or if you want to have it in the middle of the season, and then you don't necessarily play a game, but each team represents their, each guy on their team represents their division, because they almost always pick one guy from each team.
Right.
Right? There's always at least one guy from each team, for the most part. If that's the case, this new setup would force them to pick a guy from each team.
Right.
Right, so that each team would then be represented. So if you win your events, then if your team goes to a game or something, you get a bonus or you get something. Or
well, like in the, I think the Major League Baseball does this still, but
the winner, they do home field advantage.
Right, the winner for which, like they do I forgot
the World
what
Series.
Right, no, the East versus the West, or however they do their divisions.
Yes.
Whatever side wins gets to hold the home field advantage in the World Series. Which maybe they could do something like that. The question always comes down to, with football especially, is are we putting the players at risk for a game that doesn't matter?
Yeah, I mean, you are, because let's face it, you're putting on your equipment and you're going out onto the field, and you're doing that with a bunch of other guys that are doing the same thing. But that's why I said they should do it more like what the NHL has done, only not make them play a game and make them go through a skills competition to where each of the players that are selected gets to go through their whatever skills competition.
See, I like that idea because, you could still have a possibility of injury, but it is lessened because you're not, hitting each other as much.
Right.
And one of the things, that people love is the NBA slam dunk competition in their All-Star game. And people love that. And slap shot in the NHL, the slap shot competition. Hardest shot,
Yeah.
That could be something the NFL should consider because
they have these great little...
they could almost be like the combine where, who runs the fastest, who jumps the highest, who throws the ball farthest.
Ding, 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 ding.
You know what I mean?
Who does the most reps in the bench press and do it kind of like that.
Right.
What a great idea. See, look, you bring Ronice on and she solves all the issues right then. And, I mean, look, if you just make it like the scouting combine and make it like... And then you can even have drills like they do at the scouting combine where you get one guy that's the quarterback and you get all the tight ends line up and they all do an out and up.
Right.
And every one of them does the same bloody thing. Right? So you're not hitting anybody. You're not even in shoulder pads and helmet. I mean, you will be so that you can represent your team and your division.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? And you still get to wear your jersey and all that other stuff.
See, I honestly think the players might enjoy that too because they're not, They're getting a break
There's
from
not a game, yeah.
From playing a game and that intensity of the game, and they get to actually maybe have a little fun with it. You know what I mean?
They used to always hold it in Hawaii. You see,
Right.
Here's the thing: the NHL and the NBA and baseball all hold their All-Star game and or whatever right in the middle of the season.
Right.
And so if you didn't, if you're not selected to go to the All-Star game, then you get a break halfway through the season. Well, the NFL only plays 18 games.
Okay, but everybody has a bye week. So take out the bye week, put it in the middle of the season, and everybody gets the same bye week.
Well, now, I mean, it could happen. It could work. Why not?
I mean, think...
I get it. Because, let's face... Well, see, then here's the thing. And then everybody gets off for that week, and then whoever's going to the All-Star game... I mean, it's
a very small percentage of people that are going to be at the game.
So all the teams are going to get off that week.
Right.
So you're guaranteed to have almost every single football people that are going to be watching all the big-name stars go to the All-Star game.
Right, exactly.
I mean, come on! Hello, NFL! Yeah, it's called at SteelFlyers. SteelFlyers at SteelFlyers. Yeah. We'll be more than happy to help you out with that. Jeez.
Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled program. Sorry. I took us on some journeys.
Thank you. That was delightful and lovely. No, it's great. We're anyway, so I'm glad we got to get a little bit of that off of our collective.
It's the things that go through my brain sometimes.
That's okay, because... All right, so what do you want to do? Do you want to talk about... let's talk about the announcement here from the Steelers that happened today, I believe, like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock.
Something like that.
Today. Pittsburgh Steelers have announced that they have hired Omar Khan as their new general manager.
Who is Omar Khan?
Now, Omar Khan was running... he was president of football operations for the last couple of years.
Okay.
He's been with the organization for 21.
Okay.
Years.
So he's familiar with the Steelers.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean...
Is this considered like a promotion for him?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
A vice president of football operations meant that he handled the day-to-day stuff. Right? So now he's basically going to be in charge of all that.
Okay.
I guess. Okay.
Do you think it was a good move?
So,
or do you think it will make any difference in how things are run?
Okay, so the fact that they publicly came out and announced that they were interviewing other candidates.
Okay.
Okay. And the fact that they hired Khan from within. Pittsburgh Steelers have gone through a major coaching change this year. Okay. Flores was brought in, and a whole bunch of different coaches have come in, and some coaches have gone away. Matt Canada is still the offensive coordinator, but now defense is different now, and so a lot of different coaches and a lot of different changes happened here in Pittsburgh.
Well, we know the biggest change.
Okay, but these were things that...
A lot of internal moving.
Yeah. A lot of, coaches and position coaches and stuff like that, right. But here's the thing, though, okay? And so I'm a little bit thrown off here. And I don't know, maybe you guys can help us out here, I guess. I don't know. But I didn't understand why the Steelers would allow Kevin Colbert to do this last draft.
Right before he left.
Right before he left, and then within barely a month later, they're announcing the hiring of a new general manager. Do you know what I mean? So that doesn't make any sense to me at all. And the fact that I really feel that this was laying a huge stink bomb egg of a draft for the Steelers.
Well, we talked about that last time.
That's what I mean. And so it's like, all right, we're going to hire you as a new GM, by the way. Here's the new draft picks.
Speaking of draft picks, the mandatory rookie camp was this week?
Over the last week or so, yeah. Mm-hmm. They had some OTAs and some mandatory rookie camps and stuff. So we get, our first look at our first round draft pick, Kenny Pickett, who was third on the depth chart.
Third
on the depth. Yeah!
That's great.
Yeah, right? So who do you think was number one?
Well,
Trubisky. And then so Rudolph was number 2.
Mason.
Yeah, right. And so
Sorry.
Pickett was number 3. But now I've seen a lot of footage of him, and then they also got that other quarterback, that Chris Oladokun, from South Dakota State. And so they got 4 arms now in camp, right? And the only one that's been there is Mason.
Okay, so what about our other rookies? How are they looking?
So it appears that Trubisky was invited to Roethlisberger's place.
Okay.
For dinner. And so was Kenny Pickett got a phone call from Roethlisberger.
Nice.
Okay. Saying, hey, if the fact that he invited Trubisky over was a huge, I think, just like olive branch, or, hey, let me clue you in here, because I'm not necessarily out there on the field right now with you, but let me just clue you in on what's going to happen here, or how things are going to be, or whatever. And what, welcome to Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? And because it was him and his wife, and Trubisky and his wife, and their, new baby now, And so, family affair. And so that's all cool, right? So I'm glad to see that Ben, I really think he's going to be a coach.
I think he'd be a good coach.
I think he's going to be a coach. I really do. I think he's going to be a coach at some point. Well, anyway.
I just had one of those straight daydream thoughts. What if?
Like I did 2 years ago when I said they should trade Mike Tomlin.
They're not going to do that.
And make Ben the coach, right? And sign Patrick Mahomes, or whoever, right? Whoever we can trade Mike Tomlin to get their quarterback. Russell Wilson, we'll take him too. I'll take him, all day long. No, instead we got Trubisky. Look, I'm going to say this about him. He's going to win some games for us, and he's going to have some weapons. There's going to be no doubt about that. Let's face it, Chase Claypool's got something to prove this year, and he better prove it.
He better catch the ball.
He better catch some balls. We want to see you win those 50-50 balls. We want to see you win those jump balls. I don't care about the interference call on the other guy. I want to see you make the catch. Because when you make the catch and you land in the end zone, that's a touchdown.
Really?
So, and if the other guy interferes with you, that's even doubly a touchdown. So, catch the freaking ball, dude. Fairmouth is looking good.
I heard that Tuitt wasn't necessarily around this week.
No. But Alu was.
Okay.
So, that's good.
Okay.
Right? And, Najee looked good. Claypool looked good in the OTAs and everything that were there, All the other rookies were there, Calvin Austin and George Pickens, the two wide receivers that were selected in the draft this past draft, and Demarvin Leal was there as well too. So, and Mark Robinson all had good showings. Connor Heyward all had pretty good showings. I mean, look, you're not wearing pads. You're not hitting. You're not nothing. You're just
it's a little early for that.
Doing drills and running around.
You got to get that muscle memory started somehow.
So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. I'm not looking forward to much of a winning season this coming season.
It's going to be a, what do they call that, a rebuilding season?
Well, the Steelers have one of the top 10 hardest schedules in the league this year. I mean, it's like number 11.
That's not top 10.
Okay, but it's 10th or 11th in hardest schedules, or maybe it's even, I don't know, it's in that realm right there.
It's a hard schedule.
It's a pretty hard schedule.
That's all you need to say.
It's a harder schedule than a non-harder schedule.
Right. There are easier schedules available.
Correct. A lot other teams that, with harder schedules. Anyway, so like I said, I think Trubisky is gonna win some games. I think that Kenny Pickett is gonna be the number 2 quarterback coming out of camp this year, and I think Mason Rudolph is gonna be relegated to the travel or practice squad quarterback again. Because, let's face it, we've seen his body of work, and thanks!
I mean, he has talent. My complaint about him has always been he doesn't think fast enough.
I'll tell you what.
And not that he doesn't think, let me rephrase that. It's not that he doesn't think enough fast enough. It's that he thinks too much. He's got all of the options going in his head, and he's going through each one and looking at it, and by that time, somebody's running him over.
Mason Rudolph was a good college quarterback. End of story.
Okay.
End of story. Okay, it didn't translate. Sorry. Tried real hard. Okay? Yeah, but it didn't translate. I mean, even drafted a guy that you were throwing it to on your team, and y'all couldn't even connect when you guys were teammates on the Steelers even. You know what I mean? So, all right, whatever.
Okay.
Another experiment that's,
Yeah, they tried.
Bites the you-know-what.
So, speaking
Yeah, that. So, let's oh gosh.
Let's go from the frying pan. Now we're going into the fire.
Oh no, this is not considered the fire. This is considered Hades. Lake of fire.
No, we'll just go to the next level of hell. How's that?
How about them Flyers? All right. Yay! First we talked about the Steelers, now we're talking about the Flyers. Hey, what do you know? SteelFlyers, go figure! So, the Flyers this past week, I can't say this with us.
Don't even bother.
All I'm going to say is this is dripping with sarcasm, so take it like that. Flyers brass doing their due diligence to find the right coach.
Well, they are interviewing people, so I mean that's a good sign, right? They're taking more than, they're interviewing more than one person.
Yeah.
You know what this whole situation reminds me of?
Oh, gosh.
So, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without incorporating personal details. You know when you go for a job interview and you know that you're not getting the job because they've already picked their candidate. They just have to follow the rules and interview other people to make it look like they didn't already pick their candidate.
Yeah.
That's what's happening with the Flyers, I think. They've already made up their mind. They're just covering their bases, let's put it that way.
Yeah. So you think they already have a coach picked?
Yeah, and we know who it is.
We thought that was the case back, I mean, maybe right when Yo was let go. And the fact that it's now been pert near a month, and you're just now interviewing coaches.
Okay, yeah, that seems like a bit of a gap.
Okay, here comes the old stupid voice again. You fired AP in frickin' December!
Shouldn't you have already, maybe started... That's why I think they've already figured out who it's going to be.
Well then, if that's the case, why did they allow Mike Yo to be the lame duck coach for the rest of the year?
The person that they're going to hire wasn't available.
Oh, that's not
He
necessarily.
He has a contract with somebody else he's got to work through.
Right. So just to let you know, for the record, a certain other coach by the name of Bruce Boudreau was working for the NHL Network. And the Vancouver Canucks came calling and said, "Hey, Bruce, we'd like to interview you for a coaching position." And Bruce was like, "Sure!" And then after the interview and the dinner and whatever, everybody was like, "Bruce, we'd like to bring you on as the coach."
Okay.
And Bruce was like, "Sure!" And he told the NHL Network, "Hey, guys, later."
Well, they might have,
What? What part of that later part don't you understand?
Okay, but what I'm saying is there may be stuff in the background we're not aware of.
Okay, so at any given time, a team can terminate a contract of a player and or coach at any time they so desire, for whatever reason they want to list.
So, when do you think they'll announce that John Tortorella is the coach of the Flyers?
I don't think it's going to be him. I think Tortorella said no thanks.
Really? Because I've heard interviews where they've said that he's interested.
All right.
So here's my question. No.
If he becomes the coach of the Philadelphia Flyers, I might have to move.
I'm just going to leave the state. Is anywhere but in... I won't say that. Never mind. That's bad.
I might root for another... No. Look. It doesn't matter who's behind the bench. Okay? It really doesn't. Because I'm always going to hope and pray and wish for the orange and black to do good and win the cup. And someday they will hoist that cup. It may not be in my frickin' lifetime again.
Hey, if the Cubs can win a World Series...
Yeah, but okay. But that took how many... That was over 100 years for that.
Yes, it was.
Right? And even the Red Sox, that curse was over 80 years.
But they did it.
Okay, well...
There's always hope.
They won 2 cups in a row when I was just a little pea picker.
I know.
And I was too young to realize, watch, and appreciate. And now I get to see... Because Bernie Perrant is like one of my absolute favorite players on the frickin' planet. And what he has done off the ice and his charitable work and his community work and what he does for the kids and the youth hockey.
Okay.
And the fishing group that he has, right? He takes them all out fishing. Like, yeah, like fishing. Like
That was a 70s player, though, you know?
Right, you know? I mean, and the guy stuck around.
Right.
You know, like, that's the thing. You know, players from back then, they all kind of stuck around. Same thing with the Steelers. You know, you don't see that very often. You know, players stick around, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, what do you know?
So, let's talk about something other than the Flyers in the NHL.
Well, you mean the fact that they interviewed Barry Trotz and they've interviewed John Tortorella in the same week.
So what? It's the same week. They're getting out.
And there has not been an announcement.
Okay, well, again, we don't know what's going on. Let's talk about who made it to the second round.
Well, I want to just say one last thing here.
Okay.
I think Barry Trotz would be, of all the coaches that are available right now, Paul Maurice, Jim Montgomery, Claude Julien, I mean, the list has just skyrocketed with number of coaches available. DeBauer from Vegas, I mean, God. That guy. If they allow Quinville back. Whether or not they allow him back.
I don't think they're going to let him back.
I'm just saying if they do, he would be available. I'm just saying. Those are just some of the options. All I'm doing is listing the options of coaches.
Okay.
Because Philadelphia is going to have to bring in a proven winning coach. Like, you know... Like back in the day when they hired Peter Laviolette, who took a team to the Stanley Cup and won it. Or like a coach that they had who was one of their own and then left and then won a cup with another team as the head coach.
You noticing a trend, huh?
Oh, wait. I know. Let's bring in a guy who's never coached in the NHL. Oh, no.
No, what I find amusing about that... Wait,
let's do it again. Let's do it again.
No. It's that coach that was a really great college coach.
Great college coach, man. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Right? But he went to the Flyers. He had some success, had some bad, and kind of left.
He had 1 year that the team was... Yeah. Made it to the playoffs.
Anyway, so he's been out of it for a couple of years. And Seattle, the brand new team that has the choice of anybody, picked him.
Well, he wasn't out of it. He was an assistant at Toronto.
Okay.
When he was interviewed for the coach of Seattle.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was an assistant coach.
It just seemed an odd choice for a brand new team. I don't...
To pick, of all people, him.
Right.
And, boy, did that team just not perform the way their roster looked.
No.
They really didn't. Now, let's face it, they pretty much built a roster that was built to be traded. For the most part. I mean, Gerard and all those other guys, they're all gone. Right? All the people that they picked up during the expansion draft. And so they just used them for fodder. Right? So now, the next two drafts, right? Seattle has got multiple double digits draft picks in each.
So they're going to be building their team.
I believe they've got multiple first-round draft picks in each of the next 2 years. They've got multiple second-round draft picks in each of the next 3 years. And 3 are multiple third-round draft picks in the next 4 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, they just built draft picks and said, all right, we're just going to build from the draft. Which is how you should do it. And then, when you build from the draft, right, and what the Flyers have done is, hey, our AHL team is in Lehigh. Well, that's only about 20-minute drive, that's about a 35-minute drive up the pike. Boom, there you are. Their ECHL team is a Reading. Well, that's only another 20-minute drive up the road.
I'm missing the point.
Okay, the point is this. You got all these guys they drafted, and all of your lower end leagues are all within stone's throw of your main headquarters.
Yeah.
And yet all of their draft picks are scattered throughout the entire world from where they originally came from, where their junior league team was, or whatever the case is.
Okay.
Not here playing under Philadelphia's watchful eye.
I see what you're saying. Now, is some of that because of COVID, or is that just how it's been?
No, it has nothing to do with COVID.
Okay.
Like, LA, all their draft picks, all their people, they all stay in-house. All of their lower league teams are all relatively close by as well, and they all play in those leagues. All of their prospects.
Okay.
Instead of being out over here and relying on this guy and this coach in this system, and this guy over here, and this guy and this coach in this system.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, they're not learning the system from the ground up.
The way they're supposed to from the Flyers.
Right.
The professional team that you're signed or drafted to. Now, Philadelphia lacks the utter development staff to develop these players. Because Philadelphia, over the years, has drafted some really great players.
Well, we know that because they do really well on other teams.
Well, yeah, because they're really great players, and they come to Philadelphia and they're like, hey, all right, you're a great right winger. Okay, so can you play left?
I know.
Hey, you're a great defenseman. Can you play left wing?
Right.
Well, wait, what?
They don't do that to everybody, but...
Hey, you're a right-hand defenseman? Come up and play left. But you... I don't get it.
I know.
They even did it with Giroux. He's natural center and Giroux. Can you play the wing? I don't get it.
I know.
So that's kind of... I'm sorry.
we just keep going on tangents tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's all good, though, I promise.
Anyway, so let's talk about the playoffs.
All right, because we just want to see the Flyers win.
Right.
All right, the playoffs. How about them playoffs, man? This is the best time of the year. If you like hockey, you should be watching this. Actually, what you should be doing is watching John from Off the Wall Hockey, because he's calling the game, and he's calling it...
He just makes me laugh.
He's the GOAT, man. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. Last night, there were people like, well, why are you doing this? Why not? Because it's fun. Because we're having fun. I get all these people, he has multiple thousands of people watching his stream, watching him call the game. And he is spot bloody on.
I like listening to him better than the announcers because I understand the announcers have to be professional in what they're doing and they have a standard they have to meet. But with watching John, he's just a fan watching the game, telling you what's going on. It's much more fun to watch him, I think.
But John is the best play-by-play guy I've... Next to, obviously, my mentor.
Who would that be?
Well, Jim Jackson, of course.
Okay.
So, with the exception of Jim Jackson, John is one of the best play-by-play guys I've ever had the distinct honor and privilege. Not only have I had the honor and privilege of working with him and doing games with him, and we did the Carolina New York game, the second game.
Okay.
Right, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Right, and almost 8,000 people were on that stream, and the one comment that I kept seeing throughout the whole thing was, "Man, you guys should be on network." Right? You guys sound professional. You guys should be on network,
See, I don't want you to go... no, because like I said, there's a standard that network people have to meet.
Which is Nothing wrong with that because there's a standard at SteelFlyers.
No, I understand that, but there's... I'm using the wrong word then. The people on TV can't really get, like, emotional about the game. That's what I'm saying. Like, listening to John or listening to you and John do the game, I find it much more interesting and enjoyable because you guys are in...
Well, we're engaged.
Engaged, yeah, that's a good word.
I mean, yeah, we don't have a stake in who wins or who loses.
Right.
But we're excited because it's hockey.
Unless it's Buffalo for John.
Boston.
I'm sorry, Boston,
yeah,
excuse
John,
me.
Well, yeah, right, John's a big Boston guy. But we're just fans of hockey.
Right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
what I'm saying.
Which is why we can do our off-the-wall hockey show. You know, we just 2 hours and just spew about the entire league. You know, we pick our own 3 stars. We have our, top 5 power rankings, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, but I do want to say a couple things here about the quickly here about the playoffs. And look, NHL Playoffs is the second season. It's the best time. It's the best time of the year to be watching hockey, as far as I'm concerned, all freaking day long. So, if you haven't seen a playoff hockey game, this year would be a really good year to be.
This really seems like it's been a really good playoff season.
Oh yeah,
a lot of close games, a lot of intensity.
Intensity, that's a good way to put that. Yes, exactly. Speaking of intensity, we've had 2 sweeps. Now,
unfortunately.
Yeah, we've had 2 sweeps in the playoffs. The first round was Colorado over Nashville. That was the first sweep. And then the second sweep we got was the defending champs taking down those comeback Cats.
Yeah, that was sad.
It was sad.
I mean, it wasn't sad if you're a Tampa Bay fan, but...
No.
We have some connection to Florida and some of the players that are down there. And
say this. I watched a lot of Florida games this year. I would say probably of the 40 or so odd games that I didn't watch of the Flyers, I'd say half of those were Florida games.
Okay.
The other half were Colorado games. Okay. Watching games. So, watched Florida even before Giroux was on the team.
Right. They
really
had
felt
potential to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they won the President's Trophy, and we really, John and I even thought, we're like, hey, this might be the first time since, Chicago did it in 2013 or whatever. They won the President's Trophy, and then they also won the Stanley Cup.
Doesn't happen very often.
No. Okay, that's what I mean. The last time that happened was that time, you know. So that doesn't happen very often. Usually it's the curse. You win the President's Trophy, and you don't usually win the Stanley Cup. But Florida made it to the second round this year, which is past where they made it last year.
So, hey, it's improvement.
Excuse me. Yeah, we'll take the improvement. But
so
Florida's going to have quite an interesting offseason this year, so we'll see how that goes, because they don't have a lot of draft picks, and they have a lot of contracts that are going to come due.
Okay. So you're still holding out for Carolina and Colorado?
So Carolina versus New York Rangers, that series is tied 2-2 after Game 4 win by New York, and New York dominated in that game.
Oh, yeah.
It was just completely New York all day long on that one. Shesterkin was he was just all there, and there was nothing that Carolina could have done. There was just nothing.
Yeah.
And New York took that game in New York.
That, I think, helped.
And every single game has been won by the home team.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, and that's exactly how Carolina has gone this whole playoffs. They haven't won any of the games on the road. They've only won the home games.
Okay.
The only way that this series is going to be won is by some team that's going to have to win on the road.
Right.
That's going to have to be one or the other, right? And so we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? We've been joined by the co-host.
The Asti.
The co-host with the most.
Hi, Blopper.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the East. Tampa Bay is going to play the winner of Carolina versus New York, right? And I think that...
How much time are they going to get off, approximately?
What do you mean?
Like, Tampa Bay isn't playing right now, and they have to wait for the other series to end. So they're going to get a break. Is that going to help them, or is that going to be...
We'll see.
Is that detrimental?
We'll see. I think that's going to help them, because that means that's time for Brandon Point to get healthy and maybe come back.
Okay.
Okay, and anybody else that might need to take some time to get healthy and come back. You know what I mean? So that's good for them. So let's move out west here quick and go with... how about that Colorado Avalanche? Man, on the verge of eliminating St. Louis. Now, Game 2, St. Louis got some really bad news. Bennington went down with I believe, a lower body injury and was ruled out for the remainder of the playoffs.
That has to hurt.
He was going in as their number one goaltender. Now, Husso played great this year and actually kind of was taking over as the number one goaltender there for a stretch of time during the season. But that game against Colorado, his first start, ooh, well, it wasn't pretty. Let's just say that, right? And St. Louis is now finding themselves on the verge of elimination, and Husso will be starting again tonight. So,
well, maybe he'll... I don't know. Is this the last night for St. Louis?
If Colorado wins tonight, they will eliminate St. Louis. Yeah, and that'll be, yeah. And so then Edmonton and Calgary, the Battle of Alberta, has not quite been what we thought it was going to be. And Calgary seems to have not been able to answer the bell, whereas Edmonton on the verge of moving on.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. McDavid having a banner playoffs with multiple points.
Do you think McDavid's a generational player?
You know what? I think he is, but he has to have that same talking to that Ovechkin had. You got to play the full 200-foot game. You got to care about when you don't have the puck.
Right.
Okay? When you do that, boom, there's going to be the cup. Guess what he's done this year?
He's done that?
Played a little better. Played more of a 200-foot responsible game. We'll see. But they're on the verge here, Edmonton, on the verge of moving on. So that could potentially be Edmonton versus Colorado, which is another blow to my bracket.
Sorry.
Because Tampa Bay just totally hosed my bracket right from the beginning because I picked Toronto over Tampa Bay. Right? Because I didn't think that Florida was going to be able to beat Tampa Bay again, especially in the second round. There was no way. So that's why I was rooting for Toronto.
I know.
And that didn't happen.
Right.
So
and you were right. They didn't beat them.
They didn't beat them. I tried picking it, but yeah, no. 4 games and see ya. Guys, welcome to the links. So there you go. That's the breakdown there on the playoffs. One last thing I want to get into here before we wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
The crown jewel.
Monaco.
Yes, the crown jewel of the motorsport is happening this Memorial Day weekend. And I just want to say this. Memorial Day has always been a very special kind of weekend for me.
I know.
Over the years, many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember many, many years sitting at odd places where there was a TV and access to watching playoff games for Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
When they made the playoffs. And then also watching the Monaco Grand Prix. I didn't watch the other race. I watched the one in Monaco.
Right.
Okay? My favorite drivers were the likes of Michael Schumacher and Kimi Räikkönen and, those guys. Fernando Alonso and...
By the way, Aren't you glad that the DVR is so available now that you don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the race anymore?
I mean, it took, like, forever, because when I first started watching Formula One racing, yeah, like, you had to get up. Like, at least there was a channel that played the races and played the qualifying and some of the practices and stuff, and it was like, all right, cool, you get to see, all right. There was a set schedule of shows that showed you the whole build up to the race and then the race.
Right.
Yes! At 3 o'clock in the morning? No!
Well, you could
I'm not up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
You could have recorded it on a VCR.
No, see that? No. That would have meant having a VCR. And at that time, VCRs were multiple hundreds.
We're talking early 90s, right?
Dollars, yes. And so there was no way that you were getting a VCR.
Okay.
Right. VCR. You were lucky you had a remote control.
Okay, it wasn't that bad.
In the 90s.
No,
When I first started watching Formula One in the 90s, there was speed. And you had to, if you wanted to watch racing, you had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning when it was on.
I remember you doing that a couple times.
Yeah, right? So, I mean, when it was on, that's when you had to watch it.
Right.
And then Fox bought Speed.
Right.
And then they kind of syndicated it a little bit more, sort of. And they started using the feed.
Right.
The FIA feed, right? And so then they had relegated pre-race, first practice, second practice, third practice, qualifying, blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. And then now the format that we're in now, right, where ESPN basically has purchased the feed, and it's great because during the race there's no commercials anymore.
That is nice. You could just watch the race.
Well, when they used to have commercials, you would miss about 40% of the race. Because each commercial lasts about 5 or 6 minutes.
No, I mean, like, each commercial break.
Each commercial break lasts 5 or 6 minutes. Well, that's like 6 laps.
Okay.
Well, so how many commercial breaks an hour?
Probably 2 or 3.
Or more.
I figure 1, 4.
There's one every 20 minutes.
Right.
Okay, so that's 4. Right?
It's okay.
Anyway, there's a lot of commercial breaks in an hour.
Yes, there are.
So when you stack it all up, you miss about 40% of the race.
Right, and it was very frustrating.
Yeah.
Even when they tried to do, like, the window kind of thing, you still didn't quite get it.
No.
So, yes, the format we love right now is great. It's going to be nice this weekend to watch Monaco, and hopefully Ferrari will be able to finish the race.
Yeah, that would be nice. We had...
Fortunately, they did not finish... Well, one of the Ferrari cars did not
Leclerc
finish.
had some kind of a issue and was not able to finish the race.
Which was really sad because he was,
leading the race.
14 seconds ahead of everybody else.
19 seconds, but leading the race, and made a pit stop, and then they had to shut her down. For whatever reason, I have no idea. And Verstappen went on to win the race.
Right. And then the other Ferrari had a boo-boo and kind of...
Carlos Sainz had a little spin.
But he did manage...
was able to salvage...
Yeah, he got back up into the points.
5th, I believe.
Okay, so, I mean, they got some points out of the race, at least.
Yes. So that's good. But Leclerc gave up the lead to Verstappen, as Verstappen has now won more races now, obviously. And he also had fastest lap, too. That's an extra point to get fastest lap. No, but you do that on a consistent basis. If you're in the top 10 and you get the fastest lap, that counts as a point.
I know. The points are points.
A point is a point, and championships have been decided by 1 point.
Right.
Okay. So.
I felt bad for Verstappen, though, because the whole race... Well, up until we stopped watching or we went back to it, he was having that problem with his
DRS.
DRS.
It wouldn't open.
It wouldn't open, and he's like screaming at his team going, what is going on?
I went. But it didn't matter because this car had pace, so it didn't really matter. He didn't really need the DRS, to be honest with you. But
it was just, I found it amusing that you got this look into like a Formula One driver's mind going crazy because his car wouldn't work right.
I honestly have a feeling that if it wouldn't have been for them winning the championship last year, that Verstappen would not be running with Red Bull.
Really?
Yeah, because there's too many times the team has had mechanical issues where he was leading or able to and had to dump it.
Yeah, I remember that happened a couple of times.
So that is what it is. But what do you think here? This is episode 2 of season 2, right?
Right, in 2022. How about that?
Woo!
It's all full of twos.
And this is actually kind of an anniversary.
I thought last week was our anniversary.
Well, this one is too.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had
your knee surgery.
My knee replacement was done in 2015 today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, May 25th. All right, whatever.
Hey, and it's still sort of working.
It's still connected? Woohoo! All right. So, with that, we would like to thank you all for listening, for checking us out, and tuning us in. And all you have to do is go to your podcasting platform and type in SteelFlyers, and we will come up, and then you hit the little 5 stars, or you hit the like, and you hit the subscribe, and you'll be able to catch when new episodes are coming out, and we'll be trying to get out new episodes as often as we can. Thank you all very much for checking us out, and thank you, Ronice, for being the great and delightful co-host.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Thank you all for checking us out, folks. Just remember, stay safe, stay strong, and hang tough.